Welcome to 3 Count Commentaries. This is your host, MagMongoSlade. So today, we're going to talk about Bryan Alvarez and Dave Meltzer being hypocrites. Now, if you heard previous videos about these guys being hypocrites, you know what I'm going to say. Calling somebody a hypocrite does not change their behavior. It is not for them. It is for you. I call them hypocrites not to change their behavior because it won't. I call them hypocrites because there's people out there who give them money thinking that they're giving honest opinions when in reality they're giving very biased opinions while, portraying that they're not. See me, I'm not at all unbiased about certain things, and I've been quite honest about certain people that I don't like. It would be nice if other people were similar, but yet you get from the wrestling journalist class that they're unbiased, that, everything is fair and above board, but it's not. So what am I talking about? Well, Sol Ruca, Kalani Jordan, they had a match at NXT Heat Wave, which was June the 7th, 2024. It was a very acrobatic gymnastic style match. Just typical what you would see of like luchadors and stuff like that. Alvarez and Meltzer destroyed this match. I mean, absolutely destroyed it. Just really saw very little positive about it. So we're going to go, for starters, before I go too much further, I got to give a huge shout out to Meltzer Says What on Twitter, who compiled all this information and basically just did all the work. And he or she just deserves all the credit. That's my favorite person on Twitter. So first we're going to go through, I think, Bryan Alvarez's his written review of the match. Okay? The written review of the match is that the match is 2 1/4. 2 1/4 stars match. It says, quote, "They did a gymnastics routine early. They literally just started doing flips and handsprings even though they were nowhere near each other. Fans politely applauded. There were some big time issues with the timing in this match. Kalani did a tornado over the top and then hit a sit out DDT for 2 in the ring. Sol made what I guess was a comeback, even though there was no heat prior to it. She hit 2 springboards, then hit a springboard front flip into a clothesline for 2. Why would there be heat? Both of these people are baby faces. All right, so again, that's part of the psychology being a problem. When you have 2 baby faces wrestling each other and they're just in the ring, styling on each other, but there shouldn't be any heat. There's 2 baby faces in the ring. Technically, you can make a comeback, babyface versus babyface, but they're not going to be any heat. All right, so it says, he continues, they had a strike battle. Then Kalani hit a reverse Frankensteiner, then an acai to the outside. Kalani could have won by countout, but went outside instead. Sol took her out with a running moonsault. I'm going to skip through this. He says, we got our "This is awesome" chant that we get in every match. Kalani tried a 450, but Sol got her knees up. Going to skip forward a little bit more. This was a heavily choreographed performance between 2 great athletes. I can't really call it a wrestling match. It was fine for what it was. 2 1/4 stars. 2 1/4 stars. Embarrassing. So then they doubled down. Him and Dave. They doubled down in their audio review. The 2 of them destroying these young girls.
Guys is wrestling.
So I want people to really listen to this. Just really listen to the stuff that they're about to say.
We had Kalani Jordan and Sol Ruca for the women's North American title. And this was a very, very heavily choreographed gymnastics display that was disguised as a wrestling match or vice versa.
I mean, again, Do I need to say names of people who have had highly choreographed matches? Some of whom are their favorite wrestlers they give 5 stars to. And a lot of people are really harping on the Will Ospreay thing, which of course we'll get into. But do you really think that the Young Bucks don't have some of the most highly choreographed matches you've ever seen? I know they've had some of the highest choreographed matches I've ever seen. Never stopped anybody from giving them credit. But when it comes to these girls, all of a sudden, it wasn't a real wrestling match. I've seen Young Bucks matches where those dudes can not only not throw strikes, they can't even really cinch up a headlock. I literally sit here and watch the Young Bucks fail to really do a proper tie-up at the beginning of a match. A collar and elbow. They fail to really get that part together. And they don't get the amount of heat that 2 relative rookies, Kalani Jordan and Sol Ruka, together have less than 4 years wrestling. Collectively. Between the 2 of them. The Young Bucks have been doing this thing for 10 to 15 years. And they can barely do a headlock. And nobody ever says anything negative about them. They just talk about all the flips they do. Let's continue.
And, I mean, the crowd got into it because they just did one crazy flip after another. There were tornillos. There were spots where they just started doing flips and handsprings and, you know, reverse Frankensteiners and acais and running moonsaults. And finally there at the end, Kalani avoided the Soul Snatcher, cradled her for 2, and then gave her a middle rope Frankensteiner and a split-legged moonsault for the pin. So Kalani retains the Women's North American title.
Yeah, both of these women have a shot to be real superstars because they are really freaky athletes. They're really great at that. It was an athletic display. It was not a wrestling match. It was almost weird to me to watch it because it's kind of like you never see a match like this in anywhere, really.
You never see a match like this anywhere. But by the by, for the record, everybody talks about how Dave Meltzer loves Japan, and he really does. But you do realize that Meltzer routinely says his favorite wrestling promotion is CMLL. You know, where all the luchadors, where some of them are very technically sound, some of them are very technically proficient. But they're luchadors. So they're doing a lot of this same stuff. You know, the flying arm drags and the head scissors, the hurricanranas, all that stuff. Why do you think it's called a tornillo? That's Spanish, right? They're holding these girls to a different standard. Now, I can agree to holding them to a lower standard because, again, collectively, they have less than 5 years in the business. But to basically say, we've been watching this stuff and giving this stuff 4-5 stars over the years. But when it comes to this, oh, it's just flips. Oh, well, I mean, okay. That has never bothered you before. In fact, you're pro flips. In fact, you're the most pro flips. And we'll talk about that. We'll get there in a second. So Dave Meltzer, whose favorite wrestling promotion is CMLL, who has Will Ospreay as best wrestler in the world, gives him 5 stars if he comes out of the chute in one piece. By the time he got to the ring, it's 5 stars. But not these girls. It's just flips when it's them. Okay.
Where they're just out there. It's like you're out there trying to just do.
It was like an exhibition. Here's a bunch of cool moves.
Yeah, and you know, and the one thing I have to say about it is, like in a sense, when I was watching it, I'm going like, you know, this is not good, but the crowd liked it, and you know, I think the crowd's going to like anything, and the moves were fantastic. I mean,
hold on, he said it. Wait a minute, he's saying this is not good, and that essentially the crowd would like anything, but the moves were fantastic. Just For starters, even if you wanted to talk about this as a criticism, it's a hollow criticism. What wasn't good? When you say this is not good, what's not good? Okay? I mean, that's the part that we're really paying for you for the analysis. What part of this is not good? Let's let Meltzer finish his point.
Absolutely fantastic. They're great athletes. When they both have more, if they were in with other people, I think that, like experienced people, I think that was maybe the issue, is you had two people with limited experience who are both great gymnasts, and this is what you came up with. If they were in with other people who were experienced at making a wrestling match, that the gymnastics ability of either of them, would really take them a long way. And
interesting. I'm floored. Like, I really don't have much to say. I really just want to play their audio and just let it sink in. That when it comes to two relative rookies in NXT, it's not good. They need to be led by somebody who could actually make it a wrestling match. But when it's one of their favorites, it doesn't matter. None of this matters. To me, this is dreadful. This is dreadful analysis. It's offensive. All right, it's offensive, and it's not even that it's wrong. It's that it's so deeply hypocritical that it offends me as a person who listens to this and watches the same product. This is not a two movies, two screens, one movie kind of gimmick where everybody's looking at something and we're just getting something different out of it. This is literally these guys every week come out talking about how all of these amazing acrobatics and gymnasts, from AJ Styles to Will Ospreay to Ricochet to Commander to El Hijo del Vikingo, these guys can do all of the acrobatics they want. They do not get this reaction. But these girls do. Why? It just makes no sense to me. But it's not over. We're not done.
I think both of them. I think Kalani Jordan's got like a real babyface persona about her that I think can do pretty well to go along with a great athletic ability. And Sol Ruca has a lot going for her. It's just a question of getting the ring time and getting the experience and everything like that. I think some people really loved this match.
Some people definitely did. Definitely did.
Yeah, I mean, look, if you're just into cool moves, this is like watching a Will Ospreay match.
Did you just hear what he just said? This is like watching a Will Ospreay match. But you rank Will Ospreay matches really, really high. And you just said this was not good. Explain why. This is what people are paying for. Explain why.
As far as just cool moves. I mean, they were just nothing but cool moves. But between the cool moves, it wasn't even like average between the cool moves. And it was
He's trying to say there's very little psychology. There's very little ability to transition between moves. That's what he's trying to say. All right. That's what he's trying to say. And that is the unique criticism you have for these acrobatic matches, is that psychologically they make no sense. All right. For starters, it requires a great deal of timing. It requires a lot of cooperation. And you have to transition this stuff so that it looks more realistic. And I know how to use that as a criticism because I've been saying that about Will Ospreay and Ricochet and the Young Bucks and all of these people all this time. He has not cared about any of that. He has not cared about the very basics of these matches in a really long time. But now all of a sudden, They worried about the in-between the moves. Oh. Okay.
If you're just in the cool moves, this match had them in spades, and they will. I think that they're both with experience. They're both going to be. They could both be superstars, really.
Well, to your point, I would say that I think that I've enjoyed every single solitary Kalani Jordan match she's ever had more than this one, because she's almost always in there with somebody that can carry her.
I would agree with you, but I would say that I enjoyed every Kalani Jordan match I've seen more than this one too. But when it comes to showing potential, and when it comes to just moves, this is her best match. When it just comes to moves.
Well, I mean, there's a lot more to wrestling than just moves.
Look at who's talking. Look at who's talking. There's more to matches than just moves. Now, I could mention, of course, that these guys gave, what did they give it, 5.25 stars to Will Ospreay and Swerve Strickland just like a week or so ago? This is being recorded on July the 8th, by the way. Sorry. Because they did Forbidden Door. There's a lot of acrobatics between Swerve and Will Ospreay. A lot of obvious cooperation. A lot of guys just kicking out of random stuff. 5.25 star. Over 5 stars. These girls didn't even do nothing like that. Nobody got stomped through a table. Nobody had to hit their finisher 4 or 5 times. One finisher, flat in the middle of the ring. It's more sensible than what I saw at Forbidden Door. 5.5 stars for that. 2.25 stars for this one. And no real reason and no explanation about what the difference is. You can claim it. You can say that there is a difference. You can make that argument. And it would be 100% sensible. But they're not making it.
Well, no doubt. But to some people, obviously, to this crowd, I think that they performed better for this crowd than a normal wrestling match because this crowd loved them. So, every crowd's different. And, I think that there are a lot of crowds. I think that a lot of crowds this match would not have worked with. But for this crowd, they wanted, it was something different. It was different from the other matches, and it worked for the crowd. I don't think it was a great pro wrestling match or anything like that. But I do think they're both going to be stars.
So then we had the Axiom and Nathan Frazier versus...
Oh my goodness, it's not a great pro wrestling match, brother. Look, it's not about whether these guys like the match or not. That's not even relevant. But the obvious hypocrisy. Ricochet goes on Twitter, says that their match was very cool, and even said this when he saw the clips of Kalani Jordan versus Sol Ruca, said, this is just like me versus Will Ospreay. He said that because the clips that they showed was literally the same clip of a similar routine, is probably the best word to use, in the match, where they did pretty much the same routine. And Will Ospreay, and Ricochet was like, this is very cool. This is just like me and Will Ospreay. The match that, broke the internet several years ago because people talked about it being a Power Rangers fight scene that these guys defended. So Bryan Alvarez gets the response that he is surprised that everybody's calling him a hypocrite and saying that they like the match. So he goes on the defensive and tries to make it sound like his hypocrisy or his opinion. You shouldn't listen to his opinion. I'll just let him speak for himself.
Probably. Why is my opinion of that match make you so angry?
Because you're a hypocrite and people are paying you money. And I heard that the cost of this thing has gone up. I heard it's like $13. It used to be $11, now it's like $13. That's nonsense. Why are you paying these people for this mid-level analysis?
If you like the match, great. That's fine. I don't know why you're so mad about it. You getting so mad about my opinion is you giving me all of this power that I don't deserve. It's just my opinion about a match.
True. But then you come out and try to pretend that you're an expert, right? This is what him and Meltzer does. It's called a Mott and Bailey, right? You portray yourself as one thing, then you get called out on, and you back up and say, whoa, I don't deserve all that power, bro. And you go after Meltzer or somebody like that, the first thing he'll throw in your face is, I've been watching wrestling matches for 30 years. I've been watching wrestling matches for 40 years. Alvarez, I've been in wrestling matches. I'm a wrestler. I wrestled the best. I wrestled AJ Styles, blah, 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 blah. And then you call him out. All of a sudden, whoa. It's just my opinion, bro.
I saw people, they did a spot that was the same as Ricochet and Will Ospreay, which you guys thought was so awesome. First off, did you find my review of that match?
For the love of God. Meltzer says what did find the review of that match, and we'll be talking about that next. I couldn't wait any longer.
Why don't you go find my review of that match if you're so outraged about it? I don't even think I ever reviewed that match.
Liar.
Ever. So,
Liar.
Not to mention, let's say that match was great. Okay, so this match is also great because they did a spot that was the same? That's not...
No, that is not what they're saying. What they're saying is that it was a similar style match. You trashed one of them. You praise and continue to praise all matches that are similar. That's what they're saying. They're not saying, they did the exact same spot, therefore they should get the exact same review, or you should say that it's awesome. That's not saying that. They're saying you didn't have a problem with all the gymnastics and acrobatics at this point. You didn't have a problem with it here. You didn't have a problem with it there. You never have a problem with it anywhere until it's NXT. This is the second time he's done this to Sol Ruca, by the way. I did a video when he did it with Sol Ruca and Tiffany Stratton. So I got to do another one. Okay? And look, I don't care about his opinion because I never cared about the opinion of Bryan Alvarez. That's not the point. The point isn't Alvarez should praise these girls. It's that he's a fucking hypocrite. And he's a liar. And this is completely unfair. Completely unfair.
Where wrestling is. So, I understand that people get outraged. That's what things are about nowadays, is getting outraged about things. You know, you probably would be better served just relaxing. If you liked it, that's great. Go watch it again. That's fine.
So, Meltzer says what on Twitter? Went and found the Meltzer and Alvarez review of Will Ospreay versus Ricochet, Best of Super Juniors from 2016. And you're about to hear the Hawk Tua, the Gawk Gawk 5000 that came out of the mouths of these guys. Don't retch. Alright? Don't retch.
Will Ospreay and Ricochet. First off, I thought this match was awesome.
Did you?
I really did. I thought this match was great.
I thought it was phenomenal. I thought the match was phenomenal, and...
Well, answer me this question. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Okay. You better answer me the same question.
Okay.
Listen to how excited they are. We're starting to say about 10 years younger in this video, and so they're probably a little bit more energetic. But listen to how excited they are to talk about this. Oh, this match was awesome. It was awesome.
Is it just me? Or is there a great deal of controversy about this match based solely on an animated GIF of like 10 seconds of the match?
Yes, there was a lot, by the way. There was a lot of people, and that clip continues to live in infamy. When both guys turn their backs on their opponent to bounce off the ropes with a handspring and do a flippity-doo-dah and land superhero style in the middle of the ring. Nobody was even attacking the other person. I mean, there was nobody even attacking the other person. There was no offense to be had in that scenario. And that's become a standard thing in wrestling now. Guys turning their backs on their opponent to just run the ropes for no reason. That's the Johnny Gargano special. That's why I don't like him.
Yes, I think so, and I think that it's a complete overreaction. Here's the thing that's so.
Of course it is.
Okay, but here's the thing that's so funny. Okay, you didn't see the match in Dallas that they had, and I did. And the match in Dallas was extremely similar to this match, including that spot that was in that GIF.
So they had the same match more than once, and it sounds like a routine to me. Sounds like some Cirque du Soleil routine to me. They didn't win and work the same match more than once.
This match, I think, was slightly better than the Dallas match.
How so?
Maybe even more than slightly, but it was better than the Dallas match.
How so?
But essentially, they were the same thing. And
Okay.
there was nobody, a lot of our readers went to the Dallas match. Nobody came and said, "Oh my God, these guys are killing wrestling." Blah 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 blah. It was. This is a phenomenal match.
Wait a minute. Nobody said that because the kinds of people who like that match are the kinds of people who follow you on social media. There are plenty of people who saw that match and said it sucked. You probably blocked them. So you only got an echo chamber of the people who agreed with you. Oh, all the people that you tried to convince TNA was going to creep up and destroy WWE in like 2004 agree with you now too. Funny how that works out.
Was it better than Will Ospreay and Zack Sabre? Depends on your point of view. Was it better than Sami Zayn and Nakamura? Depends on your point of view. I mean, you had people who saw any one of those three as the best match of the weekend, and I think the consensus was that the Ospreay and Sabre match was the best of the three. But whatever, they were all fantastic matches. This was better than that match.
How so?
So it's like I don't know.
How so? Like, see, this is the thing is that not only is the hypocrisy bothering me, but the lack of ability to explain how you feel and what you're thinking is bothering me. I'm talking directly to Meltzer now. You have an inability to explain yourself. You state an opinion, and then you say why you feel that way. You just can't say it was a better match. Okay, you said it was the same match. How is it better and the same? That don't make sense.
It's weird that it's amazing to me that there's so much that has been said about that match only because they did the same match in the United States and it didn't get nearly the reaction, and it was similar, and nobody was negative about that. And then this whole stuff, I mean, it just started cracking me up because the stuff people were saying about it is like the stuff that like I've been hearing,
Oh my, see, listen to this guy. He's tripping all over himself, stammering all over himself. Likely, nobody saw the match that you're talking about. That's probably the issue here, is that the clip from the match on New Japan World or whatever it was at the time floated around the internet while the previous match did not. That's probably what we're talking about here. But you should be able to explain that in a way that makes sense. But they weren't done.
I just don't understand, this animated GIF went viral, and how...
It was a whole phenomenal match.
I know, but I mean, my point is, how can you make a judgment about the match and where wrestling is headed based on a 10-second clip that is taken completely out of context for the entire rest of the match?
Yeah, well, you know what, though? There are people who saw the whole match But again...
Yeah, but you know what? Listen, in the grand scheme of every match I've seen in my whole life, this wouldn't rank in the top 1,000 in terms of, preposterous matches.
Oh, God,
and in terms of matches that are going to kill the business, it wouldn't be in the top probably any match I've ever seen.
This match is not going to hurt the business. It's going to help the business. I tell you this.
Remember, when Kalani Jordan and Sol Ruka did it, it wasn't really wrestling, though. It's not real wrestling. It's not a pro wrestling match. They didn't break out the arm bars. All right. There was no There was no Carl Gotch in the ring. There was none of that Vern Gagne, that good stuff that they give 5 stars to. There was none of that. What are we talking about here?
Take an average person who's not a wrestling fan, and you put any match this year, including Tanahashi and Okada, because those matches rely.
How do we get on that? We're gonna skip through this because I don't want to be here all day. He's about to gawk 2000 that match, so let's skip forward.
Okada looking for his first win. I mean, they had all these phenomenal matches, and they were building on that, and it's a long story. I mean, that yes, if you watched everything, to me, because of that, it would look like, a pro wrestling match that's pretty darn exciting and maybe even phenomenal. But it wouldn't impress you as much as this match did. People on the internet, when they go like, if you were to show like because I've known this like with friends of mine that are not wrestling fans, especially like women, okay? And the one thing that I've always learned is that the one thing that they'll watch, that they'll be impressed by, is Lucha Libre more than American Pro Wrestling.
Huh. Well, how about that? The one thing that will impress a non-fan, especially a woman, is gymnastics and acrobatics. But it's not real pro wrestling when women do it. Now, I'm not going to go out here and just talk about, this is an issue because they're women. I think it's mostly because it happened on a WWE show. And we already know they take off points if it happens under the WWF banner, the WWE banner. But this obvious hypocrisy is so terrible. It's awful. It's blindly awful. And I just don't see how anybody can listen to these people. Last time when I made a video about how Bryan Alvarez attacked Tiffany Stratton and Sol Ruca and talked about how they had a obviously fake choreographed match, I said you are effing idiot if you pay money to listen to these people. I'm going to double down on that. Not only do they lack the ability to explain themselves, see, that's how you avoid being a hypocrite, by saying, okay, this is how this match is different from this one. It may look similar, but this is how it's different. And the differences matter. The differences absolutely matter. But they didn't give you any differences. They just obviously was like, well, it was fake choreographed, acrobatics, gymnastics. I want to see a wrestling match. That's what I'm here. I'm here to see a wrestling match. What? All right. Whatever, man. Thank you guys for stopping by. Like, share, subscribe. I'll talk to you guys later, man. Peace out.